Yeah.
Our oldest baby.
But yeah, it's full of years. Yeah. No, I need to go. I don't know.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome, everyone. All right, so we'll start the meeting. We'll need a motion and a second to approve the agenda.
I so move that we approve.
Motion and second, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Again, same sign. The agenda is approved. We have no one sign up for open forum tonight. So we'll move on to communications. And we will get Director of Business Services, Marvin.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board. Enrollment is our first. I want to bring it down to the graph, actually. That kind of tells a picture. I'm not saying it's a great picture, but you see our enrollment is going down again. I didn't do it for January, so it went from December into February, but we're at 3219, I believe, right now. So it's trending downward right now. At this point, we hope it'll even off a little bit. But that's where we're at as of February. And if you look at the DBS monthly report, our budget's looking pretty stable right now. If you go to the graphs, which I think tell a better story, you can see our general fund revenues and expenditures are in line with prior years, and they're up. You can see they're higher than the last couple of years. Community ed revenue is up, so that's higher than other years too. So our revenues are over expenditures quite a bit there, and with food service we're right in line with last year as well. So budget to actual is looking pretty good right now. I just want to also let you know that I'm working on a revised budget for the current year that we're in, and I will bring that to the board in April too. Any questions for me on anything?
No questions.
All you get to hear from me tonight.
All right. Thank you, Robin. I appreciate it. Okay, we will move on to our student representatives that are here tonight. Catherine's here tonight, and Gabe's here tonight. Nice to see you all.
Nice to see you too.
Which one of you would like to go? You get started.
I guess I'll go first.
Okay.
So this year I took another step to be involved, and I am assistant directing or student directing the middle school play. So that starts tomorrow as our first show at 7 o'clock, and our second and last show is this Saturday, February 22nd 2 o'clock. The kids are putting a lot of work into this. We were supposed to have a show on Tuesday, but the weather did not like that. So they said, you need more time to rehearse. And so we got that extra couple days there. We're ready to go tomorrow. The kids are getting more excited because the show is coming more together. So we're excited for that. You can come pop out. The tickets are on many platforms. You can check the theater Instagram, Facebook, or LinkedIn School's websites too. Student council wise, last night was our Powder Buff game. Very exciting to watch. Finals are tomorrow at our Pet Fest after, towards the end of the day. It's seniors versus juniors. I am on the senior team, so we're hoping to win, but the juniors have a strong reign. And we also had a movie last night in the pack. We previewed Mamma Mia. It was voted by the student body. They thought that would be a good movie to watch, so we previewed that after the game, kind of like a little extra festivity for the week since we lost a couple days. We planned that anyways, but it worked out because we were short 2 days of a 5-day week. So that got spirits up. Our Sadie's dance is on Saturday. That starts at 7 o'clock, goes until 10 o'clock. And the theme this year is a trip to Paris, or a night in Paris, I should say. So that should be very fun. And then the last thing student council-wise is we have an Eastern Minnesota Associations of Student Council meeting next Wednesday, February 26th. We'll be at Buffalo High School. We hosted it this fall, and then since they're the vice president of the EMASC board is from Buffalo, they host it. So we'll be in Buffalo next Wednesday, doing a little bit of leadership conferencing, which should be very fun. It's usually fun, and it's the election of the new executive board for the EMASC board in that meeting, so it should be fun as well. DECA-wise, we have our DECA state on March 2nd through the 4th. We had many qualifiers, which is exciting. The program itself grew tremendously this year, and even more went to state and qualified for state, so that's very fun. I'll be there, so I'll have more info on how it went next month, but that's DECA-wise. Otherwise, our sports teams are doing very good. We're reaching the ends of the seasons here. Hockey team won their first sections game last night, 13-1 against Bloomington Kennedy. And then basketball game tomorrow and next Friday. And then it's a doubleheader tomorrow. So pop out. I think it starts at 5 for the girls, 7 for the guys. In between, there's the award ceremony for the AAA winners and the XL award winners. So that'll be exciting in between there too.
And should we highlight that Gabe is one of the AAA?
I am one of the AAA
winners,
winners.
So
And then last thing is probably one of my most exciting things for me is the band and choir Grease Trip is coming up for spring break, March 7th to the 15th. We're all excited. We're all paid for, so we're all locked in for that. And I'm just excited to get going. It's not supposed to be very hot there, but anything's better than negatives. So I'm ready for that.
And it looks like you have the right shirt for it. So
Yes. Oh, I forgot to mention I don't just wear this on the daily. We're doing our dress-up days. So today was tacky tourist, so like Hawaiian, I love New York shirts, something that you see out on vacation and you're like, ugh. So yeah, so I wore this, and then tomorrow is FFA day. We shared the week. FFA shared the week with us. So tomorrow is FFA day, so it's blue and gold, and then we themed it by calling it a trip to Sweden. So it's like a partnership this week. So we've had fun with that too.
Great, thank you, Gabe. Catherine, you took a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you covered a lot of it. I guess I only have a few things. We both also went on our college Spanish 2 class, went on a Spanish field trip about 2 weeks ago. It was a really good experience. I think I haven't had a field trip since I was in elementary school. So yeah, it's definitely one way to get more immersive into a language that can be really hard in a community such as the one we have right now. Speech continues to be very successful. Our last meeting came in second in our team sweepstakes, so having a good season so far. As he said, both state for BPA and DECA are coming up. So BPA state is right after Deca State, March 6th through 8th, we had everyone on our team qualify. And so that's honestly an improvement from last year, so we'll take it. Math League just ended, and we came second overall kind of in our section. We lost to Cambridge by 1 point. So a little bit frustrating, but that's kind of, we're both involved in our community play. We're doing Our Town through community education, and those show dates I think are in April.
Early April.
Some point in April. So that's, you know, we definitely see some adults come out for that, and that's a great way I feel like to get our community more involved, or it's just, you know, getting perspectives, getting to work with new people. And then I think kind of like the last thing I want to touch on is currently, I guess I could frame this as, let's say I'm doing it for a class, but part of one of the essays I'm writing currently, I'm conducting independent research for students and staff in our district. So whether that looks like interviews or surveys, I framed it to be statistically significant so that you have the proper sample sizing, randomization, compiling all the data, so the really boring stuff, but you know, getting good conclusions out of that. And while I'm not, you know, currently going to present that data right now, and I'm still kind of running my reports or whatever, I do plan to give you all an update when I do have like all the information from these surveys. And I will say that hearing directly from a lot of students, especially, you know, across different grades, across different backgrounds, classes, has been really instrumental. I just learned a lot of different things, a lot of different perspectives, and I think that it can be a vital tool in really understanding, you know, our students' perspective on, you know, certain deficits and disparities that we have and how those are felt, you know, by our students and what we can do to orient our actions to be the best for them. I think one thing that I'll touch on today that I learned throughout the surveys, which is, you know, more of a minor point, but I think it's still important, is one of the things I've heard throughout the surveys, and I think I have about 60 responses so far, and this comes up very commonly, is that, as you know, unfortunately, we have a vaping problem at high school. It's the same as many high schools across our state, dealing with the same issues. However, the current plan of addressing these has been simply to shut bathrooms at certain times, and the bathrooms that still are open, it's either, you know, a trek from your class to go find that bathroom, or, you know, when you're in that bathroom, there's, you know, someone constantly standing in there. I mean, I've been interrogated walking out of the bathroom, simply trying to get back to class multiple times, which I'll tell you isn't the best when I'm trying to get back to my learning environment. And so, you know, whether that's due to like profiling certain people, or, you know, whether it's just, unfortunately, it's a solution that's not working and it unfairly subjects the majority of people who aren't engaging in these activities to undue punishment, I feel. And it's, I will say, it is a top point in a lot of feedback I received. But the bathrooms are closed, and that is extremely difficult for people throughout the day to simply use that resource. There are bathrooms that are open, there are some that don't have doors, but a lot of them, it's a difficulty. And so I think that that solution needs to be rethought at the very least, as students are definitely feeling the frustration of having that resource taken out.
Okay. Thank you. All right, any questions for our student representatives?
Can I throw one more thing in there? Sorry.
Yes.
What kind of a staff member would I be if I didn't plug that community? I did just host our the daddy-daughter prom.
Oh.
It went very well, actually. We had a lot of participants, and it's always fun to see the dads and daughters dressing up. And I think this prom initiative really made the dads step up their dressing. So
Yeah,
it
it
was
was notable.
yes,
It really
yes,
was.
yes. But it was very, very great planning on behalf of like Christine and Dan. I think it was a fun thing to see. And I worked there for NHS, and I think even the NHS kids had fun working with the kiddos. So had to plug that.
Oh,
Sorry.
thank you. Sounds like it was fun. I think half the dads and daughters were at the Stone Inn when I was there.
Really?
That night. It was like, oh, it was the cutest. They were being so sweet. It was it's fun to see our community how it all
Oh yeah.
Thanks, Gabe. All right, and Gabe, I know you have somewhere to be for NHS, so you leave when you feel like you need to. We'll move on
Thank you.
to, thanks for the updates. We'll move on to board committee updates. Who are part of committees and would like to give us an update?
I can start. I missed the script meeting because I was pretty sick last week and I was supposed to be able to send the alternate. But I'm sending sending you the update they sent me. They did do an update on the SEL and learning and behavioral supports program, just so you know kind of what's all going on there. There's just a lot of resources available for our teachers at every level to problem solve. So it was kind of, they always lay it out in such a helpful way, so you can take a look at that thing in advance. Middle school PTO, I was sick that day too, but you know. But they did give me a little update on lots of fundraisers and stuff coming down the pike, including for the golf lovers in the group. They're going to do a golf fundraiser. They're working on putting that together, so interesting to see that take shape. And they got some nice donations they wanted me to celebrate for them from Gold Star and the Lindstrom Fire Department.
Nice.
So, and then the policy committee is in new meetings. Policy updates coming again.
Okay. So that's you and Josh. Okay. All right, any other committee updates?
Business showcases this weekend with community ed. Hall of Fame game is tomorrow, the induction is tomorrow.
Next weekend, Brenda.
It's next weekend, the Hall of Fame game is this weekend.
Okay, but the showcase is next
Yeah.
weekend, okay. Okay, anybody else?
Negotiations with 284, I think we're moving closer. Sarah, Josh are on that. I know that they met at 284, I think, in a productive meeting, as I should talk to Superintendent Dietz this afternoon. And I think just understanding, you know, sometimes you're in a room and you're not quite sure what to say. And I think a meeting in between was helpful to at least make sure everybody's thinking the same things and what we say from both sides, if it's agreeable. Because there was some distance, I guess, with numbers and just understanding each other, which I think the meeting was probably very productive and very helpful. But we're moving forward and trying to be collaborative and understanding. And we appreciate all that our paras do for us. As a teacher, I had relied on many paras with some of our most challenging students. We just appreciate what they do, and yet we are in that bit of a budget, you know, crunch in some situations, but we do budget improvements in the salary for every bargaining unit, and I think that's really great planning. Our business director, superintendent, and I think we're just moving forward, and sometimes it's an arduous process, as every board member knows sometimes, but I think a lot of really positive things were achieved in the in-between meeting. We're looking forward to the next meeting.
Okay, thanks for all the updates. Okay, we'll move to Superintendent Dietz for superintendent update.
You know, I thought I was gonna have a lot tonight, but I actually have a decent amount. So let me start with this. We had the opportunity to go down and lobby last week for SAF schools, advocating for fair funding. It used to be C. And it was a good trip going down. We were a little concerned because we were told, because of the fact that one of the House Democrats might not be there, they were sort of giving us guidance like this might not feel the same. And I think since they've just come back recently, there was still a lot sort of left in the air. We had really good conversations, and I think, you know, you walk away and you feel like a couple things. One, our story about how we're funded unfairly is known by our folks, not only our representatives, but also the people around as well. So I felt good about that. But there's gonna be some tough times coming up. This session and the next one as well. So I think talking about some of those pieces, I think one message we really talked a lot about is we've got to curb the mandates. It's overwhelming districts, and we can't keep taking that on. And I think there's a reality check too that's probably been a pretty prevalent conversation for most districts across the state too, is that there's a lot of cuts going to be coming down the road for districts across the state of Minnesota in the next couple of years. And I think they recognize that piece, and I felt again there was a lending ear of, yep, we hear you, we will try to do what we can to help it out. So it worked out well. On that note, Representative Reimers will be coming to visit me tomorrow, which I really appreciate. We had a chance to connect really briefly that day. So we're just going to talk a little bit. I might try to pop him over to the high school. I wanted to show him some of the things we're doing over there as well. But he's been a great partner, and just, you know, getting to know him a little bit. I'm really excited for that conversation too. Sarah and I had the opportunity to go speak at Bethel about 2 weeks ago, give or take. We were invited to come and talk about our mentoring induction program. I'll just give you a quick history lesson. Bethel University is a new partnership we sort of started a couple of years ago. to really engage in our relationships and how we can support each other, and to offer more of a pipeline for student teachers coming into our schools, things of that nature. It was awesome. Sarah's awesome. I'm just gonna say it right now. She's done a great job in the mentor induction program. It was really fun because we talked to partner districts. So we had a lot of people clamoring afterwards to get what we're doing, things of that nature. So, and I think we left feeling pretty good about, we have a really good model here, and we do really good things for our staff to bring them in and get them prepared, not just 1 year, but over a 3-year period. On that same note, we actually got invited back to come speak again in April at another function. They're only inviting one public school district, and we're the one they're inviting back. So Sarah's gonna represent us that night, and I'm just excited to get about building that partnership. On the same vein too, whether it's Bethel or Mankato, for the 2 years of partnership, we really have tied our horses to. We also have a lot of student teachers coming through our system too. And that was a goal of doing the partnerships, is how do you bring more people in? Number one, so we can build that sort of pipeline and have them see the great things we're doing. But second, that again, we're able to then have really good candidates that might say, this is the place I want to basically teach at after I'm done. So appreciating the work the university's done. Sarah's been very instrumental in making sure to coordinate this as well, but really excited about the amount of people we have coming through our schools. And again, we have to really work hard because the teaching pipeline is pretty dry. And these are ways that we're being really advantageous and taking a proactive approach to getting people in. Last week, strategic planning. So we did have our first report of all the goals. We met in January, and they were great meetings. I'm so grateful for our staff, our parents, our community members, and different people that attended. All of our meetings were, I think, really positive because a lot of it is we defined where we want to go and the goal for the next couple of years. But the conversations and dialogues during the meetings are invaluable because it's us coming back and saying, here's what you want us to do. Let's talk about that and get to that right place. So we already did the summary report that came out basically a couple weeks ago. We already started our second round, month 2 meetings already. We have 2 already. We have a few more next week. But we're making really good progress. And I'll share one quick story on that too. Goal is centered around sort of how do you build more volunteerism and mentoring in our buildings. And we had a great conversation. I presented at Rotary today here in the town. And we talked about the fact of, again, Rotary's got a program called Stride, which I'm very familiar with to run other places, that really focuses on building mentorships in our schools. They are very interested in helping to support that goal by starting some work with us next year. So we're just excited about the fact that we're finding these inroads and partnerships to do, because like we talked today at Rotary, we're here to support our kids. We know that, again, there's needs that are out there, and especially when you can put positive people, these adults, with our kids, we all win when that happens. So just excited to see that synergy and those connections starting to happen because it makes a difference in the work that we do. Yeah.
Can I just make a statement?
Absolutely.
Representative Reimer, you made Representative Reimer's newsletter.
Yeah, I saw that.
With them, and I did share that if anybody get that. But what I think is interesting legislatively, we can never get them to admit that there were issues with the school funding. And now it seems like everybody, Senator Grant had a principal and another member on his newsletter. And so they're really starting, I think, to see what we've been saying now for 3-4 years, or maybe even longer. They're starting to believe it and they're starting to promote it. And you're seeing people testifying, like in your case, and testifying on the House floor and the Senate that we have some problems. And I think they're really starting to finally believe it. So I think that's really a positive thing. I know we've been saying that to our community too. And hopefully people who listen to those things finally realize kind of what a position that we're in financially and the shortfalls and the funding and those types of things. So I appreciate you going down there, and I know that our representatives are listening.
Brad, can I get a quick question for you?
Absolutely.
The strategic plan information, where can somebody find that?
So it's on our website. You know, it's part of the website. It's on our website, and then basically every time we get done with a new round of meetings, I am sending out messages to everyone with a summary. So you'll find it basically in emails going out. We put it on our social media, and then we're trying to also make sure it gets in the paper as well. Because we want people to continue to know this was a commitment we made. We're going to follow through everything we've asked to do. So those are the 3 places you can find it.
Michelle just navigated
Oh,
there.
Yeah. So under our district, there is a strategic plan.
Yep.
And then if you go under each goal, you can pull up the update that was ripped pretty much everywhere. So.
Awesome. in my rare time on Facebook, I did notice that you, I did post those on Facebook, so just wanted people to aware that it's up there.
Great question.
Thanks. All right, we'll move on. Thank you, Sue. We're moving on to the consent agenda, and before we vote on this, we are gonna just pull out the volunteer contract for Sarah's husband, Joe, which we would not need to do, but, we're gonna pull his out and vote on it separately so that she can abstain, since it is her husband, it was a volunteer position that never actually occurred, because
It's procedural, but it's best practices.
it's not,
Muddy
it's
the
just
waters,
not
right?
muddy the waters. So we'll take the consent agenda as it is, minus Joe's volunteer basketball coaching contract. So I'll leave a motion to accept the consent agenda.
I'll make a motion to accept the consent agenda.
I'll second it.
Are there any questions? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Against, same sign. The consent agenda passes. And now separately, we will vote on Joe's volunteer seventh grade basketball coach contract.
Well, I need to know a little bit more.
And she's at the last practice tonight.
All right, that's good enough. I make a motion to accept volunteer.
I'll second it.
So we have a motion and a second. Any more questions? Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Against, same sign. And Sarah abstains. Motion passes. Okay. Moving on. Get to the right spot. Okay, no old business. Moving on to new business. There's a number of donations, once again, from the St. Paul Fire, St. Croix Valley Foundation, the Chisago Lakes Lions Club, the State Builders, LARA, Pound the Rock, CLU Football, the Herb Janger 3 versus 3 basketball tournament, the Minnesota High School League Foundation, the Lindstrom Fire Department, and the Blatch family. And the donations benefit a variety of programs from gymnastics to scholarships, grants for athletic ads, Woodbridge, math, league, speech, football, basketball, tennis, baseball, and softball. You can see the amounts listed there. We will need, it's a resolution, so we need a motion, and then we'll do a roll call vote.
Question.
Okay.
What's a commission for a cause? That's something that I wasn't. Should I ask that ahead of time?
Yeah, I don't know.
And that one, just, then it's a good amount of $3,500.
Jeff, we will get back to you. on
That sounds like a good idea.
Now, circlet, basketball. Okay, do we have a motion? For accept the donations. I'll make a motion.
I'll second it.
And we'll start with Sarah with the roll call. Sarah, aye.
Josh,
Brenda, aye.
Jen, aye.
Jeff, aye.
And Lori, aye. The donations are accepted. All right, we're going to move on to the ending our charter school authorizing agreement. And I'm just going to read the letter that we're sending to Commissioner of Education, Commissioner Jett. Per Minnesota statute, section 124E, 05, subdivision 7. We're sending this letter to officially inform you that Chisago Lakes School District is withdrawing as a charter school authorizer effective June 30th, 2026. Chisago Lakes District authorizes one charter school, Trio Wolf Creek, and has notified them of our decision. While the relationship has been mutually beneficial for 20 years, we no longer have the capacity to dedicate time and resources necessary to effectively service the authorizer in Minnesota. We appreciate the support we've received from the Minnesota Department of Education over the years. Please let us know if you need additional information. So, are there any questions about this? If not, we'll need a motion and a second to end our authorizing agreement. I'll make a motion. We have a motion.
Seconded.
We have a second. Any more questions? Any questions? Okay, if not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Against, same sign. That motion passes. Okay, we're moving on to our American Indian Education Forum. Let's see, I think this is something we see every year, is that right, Sarah? Okay, so we need to vote to approve the American Indian Education Forum. Is there anything we need to know about it, Sarah?
The same one we get every year.
Yeah, same one we do every year, okay. So we need a motion in a second. I'll make a motion.
I'll second it.
I have a motion and a second. Any questions about that? All in favor say aye. Aye. Again, same sign. That motion passes. Now we're moving on to community education rate increases. I see Dan is here to talk to us.
Madam Chair, permission to approach the mini fridge to grab water quick? I don't want to choke on it.
No, don't do that.
Thank you. Every February I've come before you kind of asking for a similar thing to this, and we're trying to find that sweet spot of not charging our families, not being any more burdensome to our families than we need to be relative to our cost for our programming. So once again, here in February, we're going to just kind of ask for a slight rate adjustment for some of our programming. And I'll go through that real quickly. Little Wildcats Preschool, our ongoing cost increase, especially relative to in 2028, we're going to have some anticipated costs, number one, but as well as just some of the staffing and some of the things that we're kind of seeing, having to respond to. And we just really felt like it was important to kind of just come out for a small bite of 2% versus a large increase. If we waited another year, it might be 4 or 5%. So we're asking for a 2% increase within that programming. And that's going to translate to, right now, families for 5 half days pay $289 a month. It's going to go up $6 a month for that 2% increase if approved. For 3 half days, a family would pay $178, which is a $4 increase over what they currently pay now for this year. And this would be effective, of course, next school year. And then 2 half days, you see the price there, $124 to $127. And then our all-day, everyday program, which is brand new for us this year, we'd be seeing just a $1 increase when relative to a 2% increase there. So that's item number one. Item number two would be, well, here's our comparison. Sorry, my fault. So you see we're still well within sort of the people who are around us. Stillwater is just 50 cents more than us for all day, every day. But the other schools near us are a couple dollars or $1 over. So we still feel like we're competitive relative to the market around us that way. And we still feel we're fairly priced and high value. For Kids Club, a lot of what we're seeing is kind of just some of the things that the opportunities we try to provide to our families and our students. Field trips, things like that, we're just really starting to see some of those prices just continue to increase, continue to drive us up. So, and a lot of summer programming, most of these items on here are relative to our summer programming. But, you know, it's sort of in response to just those increasing costs. So the one that's not relative to the summer programming would be to increase our fee from $25 to $35 for registration fee. We're still, when you compare us to North Branch, Forest Lake, and Stillwater, they're in the $40 to $45 range for that, for the registration fee. So we propose to go up $10 there. Summer preschool, we just started offering that recently, where our 4-year-olds could utilize our summer preschooling program. And so this is sort of in response to what we learned as a result of that offering. So we're just expanding that a little bit more to $35 a day, but it's still $6 less than what we would pay for our K-5, or what our K-5 families pay. And then this bottom item, just for explanation's sake, this is for summer programming. And we have always authorized students who are going into kindergarten and are turning 4 or 5 on September 1st. We want to back that date up to June 1st. And that's going to offer families a little bit more flexibility, a little bit more opportunity, a little bit more options. And we actually have quite a large, for next year when this would take effect, we actually have quite a large contingent of families that would take advantage of that are currently in our 3-year-old programming right now. So we felt like it was appropriate to maybe make that change to kind of accommodate these families that have started with us here in that 3-year-old age frame and continue to meet their needs as best as we possibly can. We recognize the burden that this is going to place on families, as I know you guys all do as well. I mean, nothing's getting cheaper in the world, and we recognize that. But unfortunately, our costs are going up as well. So this is the ask is simply to try to match that without having to jar families' wallets too hard. I just wanted to just run something else by you that we're working on. I don't know if I need board approval for this or not, but in case you guys here in the community, we're also going to start renting out our lockers in the WCC. So we have 480 total lockers in the pool, WCC, all of those kind of areas. And we've had a lot of people, especially in our aquatics department, that would rather not have to bring all of their bags and all of the things that, they bring various workout things to the pool and things like that. They'd rather not have to haul that back and forth. And it's some of our older members of our community. So we're going to rent locker space that they can sort of have. This is in keeping in mind, so we look at 280 lockers, so there's still 200 lockers available to our swim teams, our basketball teams when they're in the WCC, all of those kind of things. Our daily lockers are still going to be available to use. Bring your own lock, and/or you can rent our lock. We've seen a lot of theft at our middle school ages this year. So we're hoping if we could rent a $2 lock, those kids could have the security of knowing, okay, my stuff is safe. I just got to pay for $2 for the day to keep my equipment safe. We don't always catch the perpetrators that are, stealing from them and stuff. So we kind of felt like this was a good compromise, and I just wanted to bring it to your guys' attention in case you hear about it in the community. If you do need to vote, I'm not an expert on what you do or don't need to vote for, but just wanted to at least make you aware of it as part of this presentation since I was here today. But we're gonna charge $12 for people to be able to have a monthly rental. That includes the price of the lock. We would want all those locks to be our locks so that somebody doesn't pay or we go several months that we control that lock versus having several locks that we got to go around and cut if that ends up being too big of an issue. But that is all I had. I appreciate you guys' time. And I'm open to any questions.
Well, I don't think that they're not just competitive. Your prices are, I don't know if everybody could see it. I wish everybody in the whole community could see the comparisons that you did. They're not just competitive, but they're a good deal. I mean, they're considerably less than your comparables at least. And when I think of that and I look at that, and I don't know what you said too, it's thoughtful. I guess you have to cover your costs. You're a fee-based operation at the WCC and community ed, and you have to cover your costs. And it seems like every time you come to us, Dan, when you look at the price increases, like they're odd numbers. It's not like you're just going up to $280 or $295 or whatever it is. I just think they're thoughtful and thinking, you're raising kids at those ages. That's a tough strain, but yet it provides a great service or sometimes freedom to do some things that they need to do business-wise or the jobs that they also hold. So I just think they're thoughtful, and yet you have to raise them from time to time, yet they're very competitive. So I appreciate that aspect of determining the prices that you have and providing the service. I think when I listen to you, I hear we're providing a service that's required and needed. Anybody who's had young kids knows how important that is to have a secure and place that you trust to drop your kids off.
And I appreciate that. I was a father of 8. I'm a father of 8. I have 8 kids. They're not at this age anymore, but we had 4 and 5 kids at times in these services in preschool and childcare and whatnot. Both my wife and I have always been professionals that have both worked out of the home, so I do take it seriously that way. I mean, it's not lost on me the blessing that I have right now in life, and I don't feel like it's any of our roles to increase this any more than we have to in terms of the survival piece. So I appreciate you saying that, Jeff.
Yeah, I would also like to just say, being on the board, seeing what you guys do at Community Ed, the one thing that I've always appreciated is that it's very, very clear that your mission is to serve the people in the community. And time again, when things come up, I can just tell how your mind works and as that hamster wheel's turning.
It's a little scary.
Yeah, it's, but it's very, very obvious to me that your mission that you got at the forefront is the community and it's the people in the community. So kind of tagging on to what Jeff said, I think that's very obvious. And, rates have to go up, costs go up, and it's a difficult thing. But I know that you have the community's best interest in mind as you're putting this stuff together. Appreciate it.
Any other questions or thoughts for Dan? Okay, if not, it sounds like we're gonna need a motion and second to approve the community education rate increases as they were just presented.
I'll make a motion to approve the.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Again, any questions? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Against, same sign. Motion passes. Thanks, Dan.
Thank you, guys.
All right, let me get back to my. We're moving on to the Clem seniority list, and once again, this is something we take a look at every year. Some of the names drop off, and some of the names move up, and we add some new names, but all we have to do each year is just make sure that we're passing the official seniority list. So we'll need a motion and a second to accept that.
Make a motion to accept the Clem seniority list.
I'll second it.
Any questions about that? If none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Again, same sign. That motion passes. Same is true for the Clem half-year lane changes. Teachers are continually taking classes and adding to their education, and so we do half-year lane changes, so they're able to make movement on their summer schedules. So they're all listed here, and we will need a motion in a second to accept.
Madam Chair, I make a motion to accept the Clem half-year lane changes.
We have a motion.
I'll second it.
And we have a second. Any questions about that? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Against, same sign. Okay, the half-year lane changes are approved. Teacher increments. It looks like that, Corey was explaining that we're now reporting the teacher increments, the career increments. And that, again, is just an approval that we're gonna be doing every year. So we'll need a motion in a second to accept the career increments. Or if there's questions for staff. I'll make a motion.
I'll second it.
Any questions? Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Against, same sign. That motion passes. And now we're moving on to the CLEC administrator, and we have a short description there. Do you want me to read it, Brian, or do you want to talk about
I
it?
can talk really quick.
Okay.
So Scred is our special education provider, and they have one of the level 4 programs, there are 2 of them that they run, are run out of our Chisago Middle School campus. And they have been talking, being Scred, about some changes they're looking to make, because they do basically run the program aspects of our level 4 programs, which is basically for some of our most severe needs to help support their needs with programming. And over the last year, they've talked about some ways in which they can maybe refine and put situations back how they think they should have them. So currently, we actually hold a contract for the principal for the program. And we've talked, there's 2 districts that do this, it's us and Pine City. And we both talked to Scred openly about the fact, if you're running the program, it probably makes sense too that you probably are overseeing the administrator, because you dictate how it's gonna work and things of that nature. Currently, we're doing that work, we've done that for a while. We have a transition happening in this program right now, where someone has put their name in for resignation, you accept it tonight. we've talked about the timing, why don't we do this work right now to make the transition smoother? Where in the end, since they're already basically managing the two programs that we have here at the middle school, they'd also take over and have the principal be underneath their auspice, their management responsibilities as well. So we have just brought that to your attention because we want to make sure that a couple things. One, you're aware. Two, we did talk to our principals union group, which right now carries the contract currently in their agreement. They are fine letting that go and giving it back to Scred. They have a conversation too with the union to talk about the teacher piece because they obviously oversee teachers that we contract. And just said that again, we'd like to see that moved over. So we covered those pieces, and this is more of a formality. We talked to the attorney, and they talked to the attorney too. There's nothing we really need to do formally, but we just felt like bringing to you and having you just formally say, yep, we heard you, we understand the reason why to make the transition. I will tell you that I think that again, this will be more spread wide besides our site. It's going to affect the other site as well down the road as they start to transition things back to where they probably reasonably should be at this point. Hopefully that makes sense.
Are there any questions?
Like I said, I missed the script last week, but this has been something that's talked about at the last couple of meetings. And the need at the club level, we're seeing that increase a little bit too, and maybe needing even additional ability. So having all of the resources under their umbrella. That leadership under their umbrella.
Absolutely. So maybe for some who are not super familiar, how does that process work when you have Scred running a program, but it's staffed by Chisago? How does that work?
Or you want, Conrad, you want to real quick on this, I'll give my response to you. You want to talk about it real quick?
Yeah. So, put Corey on the spot. The best way to explain it for you, Josh, is think of us as a staffing agency, okay? A lot of the times what happens is we're taking our direction from Scred, and then it's up to Brian and I to make sure it's implemented into the program itself. This helps kind of that conduit for it to make sure that it's getting where it needs to be at the direction of essentially the entity that's running it. So at the end of the day, when he talks about the principal now being within, being a Scred employee, they're going to be doing their evaluation, stuff like that, in conjunction with everything that we require within our contract. So they're not going to go rogue and do their own thing that they found in another district, right? It's following all of our processes on how we evaluate all of our staff as well. So just as they come in, obviously they'll be new, and we'll be introducing them to what those programs look like, just like we would any principal in any of our locations. So it's just being able to hold that person more accountable to how Scred sees the program being ran is where the big divide comes in, and where I think we've struggled probably as a district and Scred on where is that line of who provides the most direction to the actual administrator in the building versus who's providing direction to staff. So does that make sense?
I think so, yeah.
And we
As I
bill,
said-
we bill Scred for the costs.
Yeah.
If that's what you're referring to, so.
Just the whole
The financial
picture.
part of it, yeah. Yeah, salaries, benefits, we bill them problems.
To put it layman's terms, I feel like we're more the middleman in some of our transactions, and I think there's confusions on rules at times. We're all trying to work to support the program, but sometimes it's like, okay, is this our direction we're giving, or does the Scred do this piece? So I think this is a way that, again, and Scred's looking at this globally across all their programs to say, we have to put more definition of this so that we understand whose is what, and then how we can best support each other in that process too. This is the right move. I will tell you that our superintendents in the Scred districts are all supportive of getting more clarity on this piece. We've talked about it in our meetings and feel like a good direction is saying this makes sense. Let's start moving that direction.
About how many students do we have? Now I'm really asking.
Great question.
Okay,
No, it's okay. No, it's okay. I'm gonna say, I know it's under 20. I don't have the exact count. It's a pretty fluid situation, but I will tell you this: programs are usually pretty full for us because, again, those needs are tremendous, and there's a lot of need for those programs and not a lot of offerings overall. Part of the bigger picture in all this too is to talk about how do we basically maximize this Scred-wide So we can hopefully open up more opportunities because all of our districts are finding more and more severe needs that need to be addressed, and there's not the space. And not just us, you can go to any district around the state and the country, everyone's finding the same issue where it's like, well, I've got people that really need that level of support, and there's no place to put them. So I think, again, in the long term, this is absolutely the right way to go, and I think Scred's doing a nice job to think beyond the initial problem and try to solve it for the long term.
There's 21.
21? Thank you.
Any other questions? If not, we'll need a motion and a second to approve the transfer of the clerk principal position to Scred for future management.
Also move that we move that contract.
Have a motion. We have a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Again, same sign. That motion passes. So we've been working on getting a working session date together. It's been a little bit difficult. But it looks like Brian is presenting a date for the work session of February 25th at 8 a.m. February 25th at 8 a.m. because that was when the majority, at least of us, can be there, if not all. Because the timing is important with our timeline for our budget reductions, so we have to get it in, we can't just keep putting it off, so we eventually have to find a date and take whoever can make it, because it's affecting other timelines. So, how's that looking, everybody?
Was that 7?
8 at 8 a.m. If it's working for the majority of us, who is it not working? Jen?
I'll have to reschedule something, but I think it's easy.
Okay,
And I will work with anyone that the conflict with, I'll talk to you. I don't require it, so we can talk through some of that.
all right, so then we'll need a motion in a second to add that work session on February 25th at 8.
I'll make a motion to make that a work session.
I'll second that.
We have a motion in a second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Again, same sign, that motion passes. If there's nothing further, we need a motion in a second to adjourn.
I so move that we adjourn.
We have a motion in a second, all in favor say aye. Aye. Again, same sign, the meeting is adjourned. Thanks, everyone.